Do you own a home in the state of Florida that was recently damaged by Hurricane Ian? Are you having a hard time figuring out what resources you have available to have those damages fixed? Well, you're gonna wanna watch this quick video. I invited a friend of mine from Celebration Title, Robin Winkler, to join me today. And we're gonna discuss some of the troubles that we're finding people running into here in Florida and see if we can help provide some resources available for you to help better navigate your damages. So with Hurricane Ian coming through the state of Florida, a lot of the Floridians that are native here, including myself, kind of took for granted what to expect. And we were humbled, to say the least. And a lot of the homes that are here in the state of Florida not only sustained damage from the winds that Hurricane Ian provided, but also some of the flood damage from surges, as well as the rising water that we had. So with that, it left a lot of the current homeowners distraught and wondering what to do in order to get back on their feet. So I invited Robin Winkler here from Celebration Title to help with answering some of the questions that we all have on what to do as a current homeowner here in the state of Florida, especially locally here in Volusia County. So Robin, what are some of the mistakes that you're seeing or hearing people make when they're navigating these repairs?
Well, a lot of them don't really understand all the resources that they have. They just think FEMA, 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 and FEMA is not a very user-friendly website. Actually, the correct website is disasterassistance.gov, and that's where you can find help, navigate it. They use a lot of acronyms for things that probably won't make sense, but that's what we're here for as a resource for you. So it asks for a lot of questions that you don't necessarily need to fill out. So I think people are getting overwhelmed and they're not filling it out, or they're not trying to navigate it to see, where can I get the money to put me up in a hotel, to put me in a rental property? Where can I find those rental properties? That they also have another solution.
Right.
Let's just say, you know what? I was thinking about selling this darn house anyways, and now it's flooded and it's overwhelming and I don't want to deal with it. They have a way out of that as well. And it's just being educated and picking up the phone and just calling you and calling the resources and finding out what are their options. There's multiple options. And I think right now in this time, people are feeling just so disheartened. They've lost so much of their life and their belongings and their livelihood that it's hard to really think I do have options.
Right.
Than just fixing my home or leaving my home and just walking away and getting no money out of it and it becoming destroyed.
Things like a refinance, and of course flood insurance if they have it, or what everybody is anticipating is relying on FEMA. Waiting on FEMA or some of that government assistance not only can take a long time, but also isn't going to cover the total cost that one might sustain. So with a refi, what I feel like a lot of people kind of get misdirected on is how that 80-20 actually works. And a lot of people make the mistake and say, well, I have $100,000 in equity, therefore I can pull $80,000. And you and I both know that that's not the case.
Yeah.
So 80% of a $400,000 house is actually $320,000. When you minus the $300,000 that's mortgaged, that leaves you with only $20,000 that you're able to pull in your refinance equity line of credit. So that's really not a lot, especially when you consider a square footage in a home, just the flooring alone, and what that costs just to replace it. So we do want to come in and help whoever we can as realtors, whether it's giving them the direction for damage relief, whether it's through FEMA or their insurance carriers, but we also want to see if there's options as far as refinance or whether it behooves them to sell their house as it sits. And then also with that being said, now that this storm has passed, a lot of people are asking me that are not in flood zones whether or not they should get flood insurance. And my answer to anybody wondering whether or not that they should hold flood insurance on their policy even without being in a flood zone is absolutely, if possible, because one of the things in the state of Florida that anybody here as a local would tell you is that we are below sea level. As it sits, and water basically finds its lowest point. So when these storms come through and these surges do happen, water can end up in places that are in flood zone X, where it's the least likely here for you to be flooded, but yet flooding does still happen. So when you are considering flood insurance, I recommend you take a look at the flood map, and even if you're in a flood zone X, but right next door to you is another flood zone that's a little bit of a higher risk, You may want to highly consider picking up that policy because if your neighbor's likely to flood, there's a good chance you are as well.
Right, and it's a lot less expensive than people think it is.
Absolutely.
People think flood insurance and they're like, oh my God, I can't afford it. Surprise, yes you can.
Especially if you're in those flood zone X's. So a couple of the great websites for you to consider are going to be jnjgeneral.com, and they do storm damage repair, and they're willing to fix your damages while you wait to get reimbursed by FEMA or insurance. Another great website, like Robin said earlier, is disasterassistance.gov. You definitely want to check that out and see what other resources they have available for you. And that's where you can find some of the financial resources to not only help you fix your damages, but to maybe get into some housing, like a rental or a hotel in the meantime, while your home is fixed. And then of course we have FEMA.gov. If you have any issues at all, definitely reach out to me. I would love to help you with this. If you want to find out more information about something like this, get in the description and click on the link. You can set up a time to talk with me or Robin. We would love to follow up with you. We love to talk about real estate. I hope this short video helped you out when trying to decide how to navigate some of the damages that you or some of your friends and family might have sustained from Hurricane Ian.
I'm Robin Winkler with Celebration Title Group.
And I'm William Daly with LPT Realty. I'll see you on the next one.
Bye.